Good morning all. In this video, I'll discuss in detail about types of cost. First, I'll start with a brief introduction about cost. Cost is a fundamental concept in economics and business that plays a crucial role in decision making and determining profitability. Understanding or knowing about these different types of cost provides valuable insights for decision making, budgeting, pricing, performance evaluation, cost control, etc. It also allows businesses to optimize resource allocation, control expenses, and achieve financial sustainability. There are different types of cost, which includes short run cost, long run cost, marginal cost, direct and indirect cost, implicit or book cost, recurring and non-recurring cost, sunk cost, and finally incremental cost. First, I'll start with short run cost. These short run cost is the cost price which has short-term influences in the manufacturing procedures. That is, these are realized over a short degree of end results. In the short run, firms have some flexibility in adjusting variable factors such as labor and raw materials, but they are constrained by fixed factors like plant size, equipment, or technology. Short run costs are further classified into fixed cost and variable cost. First, fixed cost. Fixed costs are expenses that do not vary with level of production in the short run. They remain constant regardless of the output produced. Whereas variable costs are expenses that change with the level of production in the short run. These costs fluctuate as the output varies. Variable costs are typically tied to the use of variable factors of production such as raw materials, direct labor, and utilities directly related to production. Example for this, let's consider a bakery as an example. In the short run, the bakery has a fixed size facility and fixed amount of baking equipment. The main factors that can be adjusted in the short run are labor and raw materials. Fixed costs for the bakery may include the monthly rent for the premises, insurance premiums, and salaries of permanent staff. These costs remain the same regardless of the level of production. Variable cost for the bakery would include flour, sugar, yeast, and other ingredients as well. As the wages of bakers are also included in this. Suppose the bakery's fixed cost amount is $5,000 per month, and its variable cost for producing 1,000 loaves of bread is $3,000. In this case, the total cost would be the sum of fixed and variable cost, which is $8,000. As the bakery increases its production 2,000 loaves of bread, its variable cost would also double to $6,000, but the fixed cost would remain the same. Thus, the total cost will be 11,000, which is a sum of $5,000 and increased $6,000, which is variable cost. This is an example of fixed and variable cost. Next, I'll go with long run cost. These long run costs are the expenses incurred by a firm when all inputs or factors of production can be adjusted to any desired. Long run cost can be further classified into total and average cost. First, I'll start with total cost. These total cost, this is the combination of fixed and variable cost. In this context, fixed cost refers to the cost that vary with size or scale of the film, but not with the level of production. Whereas average costs are calculated by dividing the total cost by the quantity of output produced. Average cost provide insight into the cost per unit of production. As an example of long run cost, let's consider an example of manufacturing company that produces automobiles. In the long run, the company has the flexibility to adjust all factors of production including its plant size, machinery, equipment and labor. Total cost for the company would include all expenses incurred in the production process such as raw materials, labor cost, rent for the plant, utility bills, maintenance, etc. Average cost can be calculated by dividing the total cost by the quantity of automobile produced. For instance, if the company produces 1,000 automobiles at a cost of 5 million, the average cost per automobile would be 5,000, which is 5 million by 1,000. In the long run, the company has the flexibility to adjust its plant size and production capacity. Suppose the company decides to expand its operation and increase its production to 2,000 automobiles. As a result, it invents a larger plant, hires additional workers, and acquires more machinery as well. In this scenario, the total cost will increase due to the higher expenses of labor, raw materials, and other variable inputs. The average cost per automobile may change as well, depending on how efficiently the company can utilize its expanded production capacity. Understanding these long run costs helps businesses analyze the effect of scale, technological changes, and input adjustment on their overall cost structure. Next one is the marginal cost. Marginal cost is calculated by dividing the change in total cost by the change in quantity. Example for this, let's consider as a smartphone company. A company has already incurred various costs include labor, raw materials, overhead expenses, and equipment depreciation to produce a certain number of smartphones. Suppose the company has produced 1,000 smartphones, incurring a total cost of $5 million. To produce the next unit, it incurs an additional cost of $1,000. In this case, the marginal cost of producing one more smartphone would be 1,000. This is an example of marginal cost. Next one is the direct cost. Direct costs are important for calculating the cost of goods sold and determining the profitability of the specific products, services, or projects. Whereas indirect costs are also known as overhead costs or expenses that are not directly attributable to a specific product, service, project, or department. Example. For example, let's take a wooden furniture company. The direct costs associated with manufacturing a specific dining table would include cost of raw material, labor cost, packaging cost. For the same, the indirect cost would include factory rent, utilities, maintenance and repairs, administrative expenses, marketing and advertising cost. This is an example of direct and indirect cost. Next one is the implicit cost. Implicit costs are also known as opportunity cost or the cost associated with using resources in a particular way even though no actual monetary payment is made. Implicit costs represent the benefits or profits that could have been earned if the resources were used in an alternative way. Understanding and accounting for implicit cost is crucial for making informed economic decisions, evaluating the true cost and benefits of alternatives, and assessing the overall profitability and efficiency of a resource utilization. The next thing is a recurring cost. Recurring cost, also known as an operating cost or expenses. These are expenses that are incurred on an ongoing basis at regular intervals. Example for recurring costs include rent or lease payment, salary wages, utilities, insurance premiums, office supplies, marketing and advertising expenses. Next one is the non-recurring cost. Non-recurring cost is an opposite to recurring cost. These are also known as one-time or exceptional cost. These are expenses that are not a part of regular operational expenses of a business. Non-recurring cost includes equipment purchase, renovation or remodeling, legal fees, research and development, expansion or acquisition. Sunk cost. Sunk costs are expenses that are already been incurred and cannot be recovered or changed. For this, let's say a company invests 1 million in developing a new software application. However, during the development process, it becomes evident that the market demand for such application has significantly decreased and it's unlikely to generate substantial profits. At this point, 1 million investment in developing a software is considered a sunk cost. Regardless of whether the company decides to continue with the project or abandon, this 1 million cannot be recovered. It's a historical loss that has been already spent and has no impact on future financial flows. This is an example of sunk cost. Next one is an incremental cost. Incremental cost, also known as differential cost or marginal cost, refers to the change in total cost that occurs as a result of producing or acquiring one additional unit of a product or a service. Example for this, let's consider a manufacturing company that produces smartphone. The company currently produces 10,000 smartphones for 1 million. To increase the production to 10,001 units, let's say 10,001 units for sale, the company would incur additional cost including raw material, labor, and other expenses. Suppose the cost of producing one additional smartphone is let's take $100. In this case, the incremental cost of producing 10,000 first smartphone would be $100, right? This is the incremental cost. These are the overall review about types of cost. Thank you.